Hi, beautiful, beautiful family. We're here again. Your twins are here again. And your twins, we have another topic that we like to, discuss. We like to, look into, talk together about. Okay? So, you know the twins. I'm Shireen.
And I am Cheryl.
Yes. So what you have to say before we dive into the topic?
Yes, guys, I'm not going to stay too long in saying thank you so much for subscribing. Let's go to the topic.
Okay, so the topic that we're going to focus on today is, this one, okay, because we're looking at certain things which we believe that it's important, okay, to just bring across. We're educating ourselves as we, talk to our family, our newfound family, and Facebook, or whether, YouTube, or, where, whatever media that we, might end up on, that you might come across this video. Most likely YouTube. So this is the topic. Don't migrate to a third world country with a first world mindset. So don't migrate to a third world country with a first world mindset. Okay? Before I dive into that, I'm going to read something, and I do believe that, most people have an understanding of what it's like when you leave from your own country, because I have that understanding, and go to a new country that you're not familiar with. So when you think about culture shock, culture shock is a complex emotional and psychological response to being in an unfamiliar cultural environment. It's a common experience for individuals living abroad, including students, expats, and immigrants. The experience can manifest in various ways, from feeling of disorientation and anxiety to physical symptoms like headaches and insomnia and understanding. So when you think about, moving to another country, you're not familiar with that country, sometimes it can disturb your sleep pattern. Sometimes it can give you physical, sickness. The stage of culture shock and developing coping mechanism is crucial for a smoother transition and more positive experience. So if you can, find ways to help you, to transit into that new environment, is always important, because cultural shock is a normal and often unavoidable. We can't avoid it. Some words sometimes can come out of your mouth. It's normal, okay? We can't avoid, that shock that you experience when you enter into a new environment. And it is very for each individual. Everyone is different. Some people, they are not bothered by, the new environment, while others might be, say, shock about the new, maybe the food, maybe, the housing, living, all of those things that comes with a new environment. Okay. So, but what we want to dive into, the whole aspect of, say, a person who might leave their country and decided to go back home. So whether you leave, say Jamaica, or you leave Africa and you go to, whether it's Canada, whether you go to, England or America or any part of the European country, if you leave from your African country and you go to those country and you adapt to their way of life, and then afterward you decide that you want to return back to your country of birth, it's important not to go back to Africa or go back to Jamaica with a first world mindset, because whatever you receive in England or in America or in Canada, in any part of Europe, most likely it's not going to be the same when you go back to Jamaica and when you go back to Africa. Okay, my sister is going to jump in and also, give her own view on this topic.
Hi guys. So as Sharon is saying, don't migrate back to your country with a first world mindset. So you're going back to a third world, for an example, and you're going with the mindset of the first world environment. So for an example, you may be in the UK, you have lift, you have escalator, you have smooth roads, you have easy access to medical center, and all of that. And when you go back to Jamaica, the road is not smooth to your taste. The medical center is not as fast as in America or in the UK. Or you go to the bank, the bank system is not as quick as you will find it in the UK, in America, in Canada, and you started to feel overwhelmed. You start to compare it. You start to feel angry. You start to feel frustrated. If you go back, if you make a decision to go back to your country of birth, it is important to always focus on the evidence. What is it that create these changes for migrating back? What is it that you were experiencing within these first world country that create that movements that you having to go right back to your country? So if you shift from the truth, if you shift from the facts and the reason that you're migrating and start focusing on what you experience here and you're not experiencing it in Jamaica or in Africa, and you start getting frustrated, then you are missing the right ingredients that takes you back to Jamaica or Africa. So it's important to always remember that there was a reason for the moving. There was a reason for the shift. Because if you were experiencing joy, peace, comfort, and you were getting everything that is essential to your well-being, then there would not be a need to go back to Jamaica. So if you go back to Africa or Jamaica and you start complaining, then you are missing the essence of the reason why you move back to the country. So you will not, as Shireen said, you will not go back to this country and find the bank system the same. So why do you complain? Why would you complain? So it's about being able to be open-minded. When you are going back, be more open-minded to the truth that you will not get everything that you had experienced in this country the same in the African or the Jamaican country. You will not get it. Is what you have to look at. What is it that you return to this country for? And that should be the place. It's like a dwelling place. So everything that you're not receiving, that you have become familiar with, and you're not receiving it, it will be nothing, because what you are focusing on is the benefit. And Sharon is going to look at the benefits. What are some of these benefits that you could be going back to that you weren't getting in this first world country?
Okay. So we do understand that, when you live in a first world country, because I live in a first world country right now. I'm in the UK right now. However, I do understand that, okay, in this first world country, life sometimes can be overwhelmed by work, okay? And you don't have enough time to even enjoy, oneself. But when you go back to the third world country, you find that it's a slower speed, a slower space that you go through. So there's not much rush. You find that you have time to sit down and have a good chat, a good laugh. You have more time with family. Setting. You have more time with yourself. To do self-care. However, those are the things that those seems to have in a first world country. For, I'm talking about myself, I don't know for others. And I even watch videos where in which people talk about life in the first world country. And it's most likely for people who migrate to the first world country, most of the times those individuals, their life surround work,
and more work, or study, work, sleep.
Sleep. That's
Study,
it.
work, sleep.
And sometimes not even enough sleep is given to those individuals, because you're looking at a person who might be doing 2 jobs and still have to cover going to, say university. And so, you find that there is not enough time given for self-care. So, you're looking at a person who's going through emotional burnout because they don't have enough time to take care of oneself. However, when you think about the third world country, you don't find those type of lifestyle going on, for most individuals. It's chill. It's more chill, especially in Jamaica. People are chill. Even on the job, they are chill. There is no rush. When you go to the supermarket, when you go to the market, when you go to, say the stores, any place that you go to in Jamaica, I've never been to Africa, but I know Jamaica. But, when you go back home, people are just chill. They have a chill way of getting on. And these are some things that, people who leave Jamaica and, go to the first world country, we tend to forget, the way we function in, say, Jamaica. And so we are bothered by people being chill.
Being so relaxed. They're not rushing. They're not,
They're not in haste to
haste.
serve you.
Yeah.
And so I find it very amusing. When I go to, say, a shop in which, furniture shop, or go to, any of the supermarket, and you go to someone, they are not disrespecting me in any way, but they are just
being their true self.
They're just chill. Very chill. They're not in any rush, in any hurry to get on with things. But because I could now come from, the UK, and I adapt to the UK way.
Rushing.
I might look at what is going on
From
there in a negative way when that's just life for them. It's just simple life.
Yeah.
So when we look at the whole aspect, we are looking at the whole aspect of, it's important not to migrate with a first world mindset. You're going to the third world. Don't go back with the first world mindset.
Expecting rushing.
You go to the bank. The bank system is going to be different.
You may line up for how many hours?
Line up just to see someone. And when you get inside there and you sit with someone, then you have to, be patient. You're gonna be there all day. When you go to the wharf, it's the same system. You're gonna be there all day. When you go to the supermarket, well, it's kind of a upgrade now when you think about the supermarket, because there's a lot of cashier and stuff like that. So it's not that really slow in the supermarket, to my experience, really. But the truth is, it's important not to think that the hospital system is gonna be like the UK system. No, it's not.
And we sit hours in emergency. 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours in emergency.
It's an emergency.
Yeah.
An emergency for me is like a fast thing.
Yeah.
When you go there, you go to the desk, you talk to someone, they tell you, okay, sit down. You sat there, you wait, you have to go back to find out, okay, when am I going to sit? Remember now, you go to the emergency because you believe that something terrible is happening. You need to see a doctor. If I didn't know God, to be honest, if I didn't know God, I know how to pray and, trust God that I'm okay. I don't know what would happen to me when I go to, say the emergency here in the UK. It's very slow. It's very slow. You wait for, you're there till midnight. The next morning before you end up seeing somebody, a doctor. You know, so you know every country have its ups and downs. But I do understand that in the first world country, there are certain things that you might find more easier, like the bank system. I go into a bank and everything, you just get through. There are times that you line up, but it's still not as slow as Jamaica. But I can't compare Jamaica to
the UK.
No, it would be wrong for me to go back to Jamaica with this mindset that, you know, I should have, you know, the system out there running the same as UK, because it's not going to be like that. However, Jamaica is growing, you know, and is developing, and maybe one day it might be like
faster than the UK.
Maybe even faster than the UK, or faster than America or Canada.
The band system.
But however, right now it's really important for one to understand that.
You're gonna go back to Jamaica.
If you decide to go back to Africa, if you decide to go back to Jamaica, it's important for you to understand your reason. Why am I deciding to go back home? Why do I choose to return to my birth country? What am I not getting in the first world country that I believe that I can get in the third world country? And if you can allow yourself to be present with that, you'll find that you'll be able to accommodate the other aspect of things that you might face when you return home. Okay? So we want to try and educate ourselves in the aspect for us to understand that, you know, living in a first world country,
adapting to their
rules, their culture,
their
way of life, you know, sometimes it can becomes a weapon against you when you go back to your birth country. And I you know, focus on Africa, and I focus on Jamaica, you know, because I watch a lot of African, you know, YouTubers and, you know, Jamaican YouTubers. And so, you know, when you look and when you hear certain things, you know, it's important for one to understand that, you know your reason. You know your reason why you decide to go back.
And the benefits are great. You know, if I should say that. The benefits are great. If you think about, okay, for the UK, the weather here can be unpredictable. And so we have this thing called seasonal depression. When it's winter time, a lot of people go through depression because it's dark, it's wet, you know, it's just gray. And so if you're born in a sunny island, you're gonna, sometimes your brain is gonna go back to thinking, oh my goodness, like I'm stuck in the house 24/7. Most of us don't have the activities. Can you think about Jamaica activities? Whether you are in the church, whether you are in the secular world, there is always something
going on. Jamaica is always keeping. I don't know if Africa is like that, but Jamaica is always keeping. They're always saying Jamaica a keep. Jamaica's always keeping. What I mean by that is that something is always going on.
There's an activity.
Always.
There's some churches are packed with
activities. The sport world, you know.
The music
world, the festival world. You know, everything that you can think about, you can find it in Jamaica. And that's why when you step off the plane, I don't know if it's like that for everyone, and I do hear people talk about it. When you step off the plane and the sun hits you, it's like everything that, you know, the country offer is just come flooding in on
Beautiful
you. You start to feel the vibes before you even reach home. You know, just at the airport, you know, everything around you just allow your spirit to be so awakened.
And another thing, Shireen, is that what I realize here, in the first world country, people are so isolated.
Yes.
There is no unless you know of a social place, like you go to the gym, and it can be very isolated anyway.
Yes.
Or you have a dance place that you go to, or you have a yoga place that you go to, or you go to some sort of churches, bingo shop. But it's so isolated when it's come on to community, because you will live here and you don't even say hello to your neighbor, or you don't have a conversation with your neighbor. But within Jamaica, the community,
people are so chatty.
The community, you may be in your house starving and nobody knock on your door to say, here is a banana, here is piece of yam, here is some sweet potato, here is some pumpkin, here's some ackee. There's no one doing that. And so when you think about migrating, these are the benefits that we will actually receive in the third world country that the first world country will not offer you.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine that?
Because one of the things that I really love about the third world country, when you're in the church environment, this is what I grew up on. When you're in the church environment, and if you miss it from church, most likely after church over Sunday, you're gonna see a church sister come in to look for you. To find out if you're okay.
Now over here, the telephone now, they probably ring you. What happened? Are you okay? Shall we come
here? Because the culture is like this, where in which people don't go to your house. They only come on the grounds of invitation. No one will show up at your door if you don't invite the person. Even if you have friends. I don't know for other people. I'm speaking for me.
My experience.
Our experience. I've been in the church environment, and you don't have church brothers and sisters, whether you miss it from church, show up to check in, to find out if you're okay, to
bring you some grocery,
and stuff like that. None of those things. I've been here for 27 years, and I don't have those experiences here. However, I do have those experiences back home, and even now, going back home, I remember we went to Spanish Town, and somehow we forgot to buy some green bananas, and we really wanted the green bananas. And I don't know if, God is so rich in Jamaica or something is there, but later on in the day, we hear the gate knock. And that's a church brother with a crocus bag
full of food.
Full of food. We have a bunch of banana. We have plantain. We have cane inside there.
We have sweet potato.
Everything was in that bag. It's like God just free of cost. We didn't pay any penny for it. It's like God go to the person's house and knock and say, okay, the twins forget to buy their green bananas. They need some green bananas. Just go to their house
and bring them
green bananas. Our neighbors behind us, they're bringing us stuff. Whatever they plant in their backyard, we're getting from the neighbor. We don't have that happening here. You can't go hungry, to be honest.
And so when you think about the mindset that you want to bring back, to pollute the beauty when you make that decision to go back there. So it's so important, Shireen, that we don't do that.
No.
None of us do. If we're going to migrate, we don't take what we believe is beauty and start to use it to be a weapon. A weapon over the beauty that we are returning back to.
True. Because most of the problem that people, tends to have, one is they think about customer service. Two is really
the bank
service,
the hospital,
the road. Those are the issues that you hear them mainly talk about. We understand the job system is not going to be the same like what you have here in the UK or in America or in any part of the world.
And the
pay is not going to be the same like what you get here in the UK or in any part of the first world country. But it's really about understanding, the benefit that you will get that surpass
the money,
the road,
the hospital,
the bank system. What's benefit? Because to be honest, peace of mind
Is better.
is more important than the pleasures of this world. You know, the materialistic things that one can, you know, gather is not so important
like
your health.
Your good
and
health.
if you don't have good health,
all
these things are not important because health comes first. And if you go back, because you feel that when you go back to Africa, the fresh air, the beauty of the green
fruits, the
vegetables, you know, the fresh vegetables,
organic, the real
organic stuff. If it's like that in Jamaica and that's what you go back home, the beauty of the rivers, the beaches, the fruit trees, the mountain, the fresh air, you know, all of those things. If that's the reason why you decide to migrate, be present with that. Be present with that. So we leave on this note. Don't migrate to a third world country with a first world mindset. I hope this topic, you know, is something that you find interested. And, you know, if you feel like, you know, you want to add to it, you know, send us a text. You know, we enjoy the text. We respond to, you know, our family who are talking to us, and we enjoy, you know, talking and sharing with you. We are all here learning from each other.
And if you know of anything else that you want to add to it, just add it.
Yes. Okay.
And if we miss out anything, just let us know.
Let us know. Okay. So love you guys, and thank you guys.
Again.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.